Getting ready for the Breeders' Cup and all of those Breeders' Cup races. The best way to play them? Play them through Naira Bets. Head on over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member, use the promo code CUP25. We'll match the $200 of your initial deposit and give you a free $25 play. The first Breeders' Cup race, this will be on Breeders' Cup Friday, the day of the 2-year-olds, is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. And it's a skullbuster, as it sort of always is. But there are a couple of pretty interesting horses at relatively short prices that are major players in here, but there is a lot of pace in this race, and that could affect things quite a bit. Now, I don't think it's going to hurt Love Reigns, and we'll see if Love Reigns ends up the first or second choice with the Platinum Queen. Love Reigns won the Bolton Landing at Saratoga. She was entered at Keeneland a few weeks ago in the prep race for this. She chose not to play. She's going to come into this race off of a 2.5-month layoff. Wesley Ward, he runs them sparingly, but when he runs them, they usually run pretty well. She ran okay in the Queen Mary, but she did lose to another horse in this race, who we'll discuss in a little bit. Love Reigns is good. She also showed last time she does not need the lead. Now, whether or not she can rate comfortably well off horses remains to be seen, because it's hard to believe they won't be moving up front. But to dismiss Wesley Ward horses in these juvenile turf sprints or the regular turf sprint or any turf sprint seems to be a very difficult thing to do. The horse I'm going to try to beat in here, though, she's very talented, that will take a lot of money, is the Platinum Queen. Yeah, she's the 2-year-old. In a couple of her races recently, she has faced older horses. And in this race, the Prix de la Baye, a very important very important race over in France on the undercard, she beat older horses. And believe me, that is no mean achievement. Getting a lot of weight or not, it was only a 5-furlong race. The problem for her is that she's a forwardly placed horse, and she's never run against the kind of speed that she figures to run in here with Speedboat Beach, Tyler's Tribe, and perhaps some other horses in here. So in general, it figures it's going to be a much different race for her. And as good as she is, competition could be pretty stern in here, and with expected pace to be different, she's a horse that's going to take money that I am going to try to beat. Another Euro that's coming over here is Persian Force. We'll take a look at Persian Force in the very prestigious Prix Mornay. This was 2 races back. Finished second to an extremely talented Coolmore runner named Blackbeard, who I believe has been retired, actually, after having a great 2-year-old season. This was a terrific effort by Persian Force. The thing you want to ask yourself, though, is how much do you trust this horse cutting back to 5.5 furlongs from sort of demanding 6-furlong races over in Europe? I am not wildly against this horse. I won't be surprised if he runs well. The Euros have had a spotty record in their juvenile turf sprint, and even though I'm taking one of them, that one will be a bit of a price. And Persian Force, good as he is, has had a lot of races, and I just kind of wonder if maybe he's coming here as a bit of an afterthought and not the kind of horse I want to use, talented that he is. Speedboat Beach, you don't expect Bob Baffert in the 2-year-old turf races. You so rarely see him in those races. But I think with Speedboat Beach, it's a very talented dirt horse that he probably questioned whether he could go long. And he's got a couple of big players, as we'll talk about, as you probably know, in the juvenile on the dirt. So he thought, could he be a turf sprinter? He tried him out in the Speakeasy as a prep for this, and he passed it. Got an 81 buyer, respectable race. The problem for me is manyfold. Number one, there's plenty of speed in this race to run with him. Second of all, he beat absolutely nobody and is meeting much tougher horses in here. Speedboat Beach is going to take money, and I think he's supremely talented. Maybe we'll see him in the Alan Jerkins next year at Saratoga, but I don't think we're going to see him be effective in this turf sprint. The horse that I'm interested, though, in on top is the number 4, Dramatized. And we're going to go back to Ascot, and this is back in June, when Dramatized beat, among other horses, Love Reigns. Love Reigns ran very well to finish 4th in there, but Dramatized, as the favorite, she got the best of her. And she's good. Now, she comes back and doesn't run for 2 months. Doesn't run that well in her next start. The feelings, if you look at some of the European write-ups, was that 6 furlongs was too far for her. Sometimes I feel like these races, as demanding as they are, you add maybe a half a furlong. This is 5.5 furlongs. It's much more in her wheelhouse. We know that she's a horse that can beat Love Reigns, albeit on her home turf, so to speak. But I think she's talented enough, and I think her price will be good enough that she might wear to play in a race that's very tough. I do want to talk about a horse that it not intended to originally run this race, and that's the 7, Oxymore. Was going to run the route. Chad Brown went back to the sprint. Think it's a very good move, and think this horse, especially given the pace, and should be rating, didn't even go to the lead going long last time, could be dangerous here. A horse that's got a lot of attention, and justifiably so, is the number 10 Tyler's Tribe. He might be one of the coolest horses running all weekend. The Iowa bred, who's got New York bred connections and sired by Sharp Azteca, who's had success as a sire in general with 2-year-olds, but also with turf horses as well. This horse has blazing speed, and I know sometimes dirt speed and turf speed don't translate. This guy is going the front, or he's going towards the front. He's been 5 cents the dollar in 2 straight races and 10 cents a race before that. And no surprise, he's won his career starts by about 60 lengths or 50-plus lengths. He's good, but he's not exactly bred to be improving on turf, and he's facing some tough horses. He's a very cool horse, and I look forward to hopefully seeing him in some interesting races, probably on the dirt going forward, but I'm not betting him on the turf. But he could have a role in this race as a pace player. My picks, as I said, the 4, Dramatized. Over the number 2 horse, Love Reigns. The 7, Oxymore, I mentioned, cutting back to sprints. He's done well and is my 3rd choice. And the number 5, Mischief Magic, who I didn't mention, is a Charlie Appleby runner in here. And I feel as though Charlie Appleby's runners will be overbet all day, and I'm probably going to try to play against a lot of them. But he's 50% with 10 starters in the last 5 Breeders' Cups. He's only won 7 of 8 races at Woodbine he's been in the last 5 years. He's tough. He is tough when he ships. And this horse is okay. Finished behind Blackbird and Persian Force last time out. I'm going to put him in 4th, though I don't think on paper at least he's necessarily good enough. But I'm not sure you want to let Godolphin horses beat you absolutely. See what happens. It's the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. And the best way to play it at NYRABets. Head on over to NYRABets.com. Use the promo code CUP25. Match $200 of your initial deposit and give you a free $25 play.